How should we start this off? I always started off like this. Like, I literally just started by talking, like, how are we going to start with you guys today, and what are we going to get into?
I think we'll just jump right into it, honestly. Let's do it. Let's keep it nice and calm.
I would like to introduce... Oh, yeah, calm, chillax is always the way to go. You know, introduce you guys with a good vibe. I don't want to... Welcome back to another YouTube video.
I do like that intro, though.
I do like it sometimes. It's very original.
It's a 2009 vibe.
Yeah.
I would tune in every time, man.
It's literally what we grew up with. And even every time I heard that, I would watch the whole video every time.
It's definitely huge on the Call of Duty videos, watching that. Like, welcome back to the next stream.
Oh, dude. Call of Duty. And, dude, back in the 2009, 2014 is when that was.
Oh, yep.
If you were watching Call of Duty back then, or if you remember FaZe or any of that, you should comment now.
Yeah, FaZe was a huge deal. I definitely wanted to be in FaZe. Black Ops 2, that was master prestige. Man, I was dirty.
Dirty. You know what's interesting about that?
Huh.
That I just love saying to everybody gets a kick out of it. If you go back to 2014, look at the very end of the FaZe roster. FaZe Snake, that was me for 6 months.
You're lying. For 6 months? What do you mean? What, do you get booted or something? Do you get cut from the
So
team?
remember when they would do the fans that can play and they can join, and like if you 1v1 and if you beat them or you get a certain amount of points, you get to go on the FaZe roster?
I don't remember that, but I feel like I remember tryouts. They used to have
They just do tryouts.
Yeah.
They had like the competitive team, and then they had like you're just on the FaZe family. So like you had exclusive access to be able to go to the FaZe house. You'd be in games with them, lobbies. You'd be on their friends list because you could only have a fucking 100 friends on Xbox.
Oh, I remember that. That was wild. Removing somebody to add somebody else.
This shit was so bad, dude. But yeah, I was big fucking nerd back then.
I was huge on it. So were you in Black Ops 2 or
Black Ops 2 and MW3?
MW3 I was in like a clan where I had to it was like a job. It was like, you got to clock 6
Yeah.
hours tonight. Like
Literally, dude. You had to play like a nerd.
And I was in it too.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, Mom, just leave the dinner down there. I'll be down there. And
dude.
I don't even know when.
Zombies?
Zombies, huge on zombies.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
There was this one time that me and my buddy, it was summer. We were out of high school. 3 days straight. Did not stop. Round 245.
And you didn't have the Xbox turn off on you, because that was my biggest fear ever. It was like pausing it. If it was
No, this was not on Xbox. This was... Oh, wait, no, it was. It was 360. It was the Slim. After the Slim came out, at the S or the Slim, I was okay with it. But if you had like the big bulky 360 where the hard drive stuck out,
you were getting the red ring of death on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. See, PS3 was so much safer to play for long periods of time like that. But I ran the Xbox into the ground.
I did run the Xbox, and then I became a bigger fan of PlayStation after. I had them both. I think I had the Xbox 360 and the PS3 at one time. It's like different prestige on both, but man, I can't even believe I'm talking about it. It's been so long since I've talked about this, but like that was like a huge. That was
a big part of my fucking childhood.
That's where like I hung out with friends. Like that was like my. I mean, obviously outside of in person, but like I honestly enjoyed playing with friends online just as much as I did with hanging out with friends. Sometimes I really did.
No,
sounds
literally.
like a weirdo. But
I think
promise
that
I'm not.
Every single guy that's watching this can agree with that, honestly. So I don't know who the fuck that would sound like a weirdo to, because I know all of you can relate to that right there.
Factual statement.
But would you introduce yourself, sir?
Yeah, well, Greyson Tavalachi, guys. I'm this is new for me. This is my actual first podcast. So Jay, thanks for having me on. Coming from commercial real estate, but I don't even want to talk about that right now. I just want to talk about life. I think I have a great perspective on it, and I know Jay does as well. So I'm excited to come with you guys and walk through a journey of 1% better, however that looks like. And let's jump right into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And 1% better, I kind of go off on a tangent about this every single episode because it's beautiful and I live by it every single day. But I know that you guys do a little bit. I mean, we've talked about it. We shot videos for you, I think, 3 months ago?
Yeah, a couple months back.
And that like hour long was a lot of insight into how you look at things, because there was a lot of personal questions. Like, we literally came up with questions on the spot involving like, marriage, the way you run about morals, the way that you treat the guys around you, the way that you operate with business. So like, I know that you're about getting better every day.
If you're not getting better every day, so there's obviously only two ways that you're going. You're getting better or you're getting worse. The way that I look at it in business and in life, any relationship that you're in, there's no such thing as stagnation like that. Staying in the middle, you're not really going forward, you're not really going backwards, even if it may not seem like it. You're always, always, always either getting better or you're getting worse. Maybe that's not a noticeable amount, but after a while that compound interest adds up, and then you'll either compound negatively and then you're like, wow, I'm not looking good, or you compound positively and you're like, dude, I feel better than I ever felt in my life.
It's like drinking water every day and sleeping. After 5 days, you're gonna feel a lot better than, what would the opposite of that be? If you're staying up on your phone every single night and then you're not getting sleep. Yeah, you can just feel yourself progressively get worse, whereas you can do the positive things. But what are 3 things that you make an effort to do every single day that is helping you get 1% better?
So obviously the first one, which we did talk about in those videos, was fitness. Now I'm going to go into probably 2 different kinds of fitnesses that I like to do on a daily basis, but the number one is the most obvious, which is your physical fitness. I'm in the gym. At least, even if I'm so crunched on time, I wake up late, because it happens. I like to wake up, and I wish I could say I woke up at 4:30 a.m. every single day. But there are days where I miss that. But even if I can get in the gym for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, do some push-ups somewhere, even if I don't make it to the gym at all, if I'm able to just drop down.
If you go for a 15-minute walk at night,
walks are good. I've become a huge fan of those recently.
It's just so good.
Never thought I would, but you just get outside and take some of that air. And I know you've been
I've
posting stories about that. Getting some
dog.
sun, man. That is huge. And a lot of you guys out there probably aren't getting enough sun sitting behind the desk or the computer trying to make money.
Or in school, or sleeping too much because I'm not going to go there this episode. I'll give you guys a couple episodes before I go in like that. But
we might get into that.
But yeah, dude, I never saw myself doing that. I was such a fucking meathead when I first met David. I was he literally met me in the first day. We were, benching 120 dumbbells, just throwing shit around, doing monkey exercises, hanging off bars. And then now there's he was you need to do functional training. You need to do kettlebells. You need to be able to run. You need to be able to do this. And I was like, no, I get big. I lift weights. That was it.
I'm still not good at the functional training part. I'm a huge...
I've had to get better.
I have to get better. I know how to do it. The whole physical part of it, keeping your heart rate up the entire time, is huge to do.
That is, and all you gotta do for that is just do a wall sit. I just do that, or I drop down and do push-ups, or there's lots of ways to do that.
Yep. So anyways, my point to that is the number one thing is physical fitness. However you can get it in your day. There's no such thing as being too busy to get 15-minute walk in or a 30-minute workout in.
You can do it. I'm sure that you're on your phone longer than that. So while you're on your phone, go for that fucking walk.
Seriously, listen to something, digest something, and that leads me right into my second one, is digesting something that's going to help me get 1% better.
Absolutely beautiful.
Whether that's a 15-minute podcast or some kind of video that relates to what I'm trying to do, or how to just break out of the matrix that everybody believes that we live in, as far as control goes and trying to keep you down. If you want to break the chain in your family and become that 1% that nobody thought that you would ever become, or nobody ever thought that they would see in their lifetime, you have to be digesting things that are going to push you in that direction. Because if you're not, why would you become that?
That's a really big one for me, if I'm being honest.
I do it every night. I fall asleep to those things.
I haven't talked about it enough at all, because it always seemed like such a nerdy fucking thing. When I met David, I always refer this to David, because when I did meet him, that was the transition. I met him at the last slave job that I had, type shit. So everybody,
I didn't know that's how you met.
Yeah, I met him at the dealership I worked at. I worked at this exotic car dealership, and he was looking to take pictures of the cars, and I worked there. I was the detail manager, and we met, and we immediately clicked.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Not to go on a crazy tangent there, because that story has been told a million times, but...
Obviously not to me.
Well, from that point, it was... Okay, so I'll tell you the story if I haven't told you.
Yep.
I met him there. He was looking to take pictures of cars. They were not going to pay him enough, obviously. It's a car dealership. Everybody knows the car dealerships don't have enough money for that.
That's right.
But we got along. I was like, I noticed his camera because I was making content on my phone for like 3 months now, and I was making content on my phone. I was like, what kind of camera is that? How much is that? Da da da. He was telling me he needs to get in the gym more, and I was talking about how I'm looking to make higher quality content. So he was like, well, you want to go to the gym tonight? And I was like, yeah, I just worked a 16-hour shift, but sure, why not? So right after work, we went to the gym, got some little pictures and videos while we were there. I don't even think we did the first time. We just worked out the first time.
That's the best way to do it. That's where the obsession began, I guess.
Oh, yeah. We were just cutting up the whole time, talking, lifting. Like, it was the first time that I had ever met this dude. That's from there, it was just propelled. It's just like we were constantly learning new video tactics. I was constantly 100% watching algorithm videos, how to grow, how Instagram works, TikTok. Like every single time I got in the car or every time I had headphones on, I was literally listening to something. While I was detailing cars, I would connect to the Bluetooth and listen to a podcast or some shit.
That's exactly right.
That further knowledge is the best way to do it, because even if you don't retain all of it, you still learn something from it that you didn't know before. You just made a new crease in your brain. Like, you're getting better every single time.
It's the truth. I think the hardest one to do, which I'm still working on myself, is listening to an audiobook or a podcast while I'm working out. Now, I'm a huge music fan.
I can't do it while I work out.
It's hard because I mean
that requires focus.
I'm focused, and then I'm not focused on the muscle tension in the
workout.
Yeah,
you're just like, I'm like,
So that's why you get that full speed playlist from Jay, and you won't want to listen to podcasts. That whole thing I just said will go right out.
It's actually dope, because I want to thank you guys, even though it really doesn't matter, but it does matter, because now I'm posting my podcasts are on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube now. So you guys will be able to hear this on Spotify.
That'll be dope.
Over 500 people have followed that playlist. I'm proud of all of you.
It's actually insane. I've definitely stolen it and made my own playlist and said I created this. No, I'm just playing. But
you can, please do. I mean, I'm just filtering all of my favorite pumpy songs. If I like something, I literally add it, and I hope you guys like it too.
I think that, I mean, I could take it. It depends on the mood that I'm in. Like, if it's like early in the morning and I'm like really just not feeling like the loud music, I will put it on. But either way, my point is just digest one thing a day and good music, and just become a little bit better at what you're listening to.
I think that's a very big one. And like, not to cut off your third thing, but I would like to say this before I forget. I've never talked about this, and I love doing these podcasts now because I get to speak exactly, and I get to hear how other people feel about the same thing that I feel. But music, the type of music that you listen to is extremely important when it comes to your mental health, the way that you think about things, the way that you digest information that you hear about rappers and people and certain, like, there's this fucking word Riz, and there's all this young people, like, acronyms and shit. So, like, the type of music that you listen to is going to play a massive impact on the integrity and the vulgarity of your thoughts. Like, if you're constantly listening to the same garbage about drugs, girls, and shit that doesn't matter, that nobody cares about, that just rhymes, the way that you're going to digest that type of information is going to be, one, it's going to be more acceptable, and two, it's going to be just not helpful. It'll be more normal to have garbage going in your ears. Most of the stuff I listen to is pretty... I don't hear the lyrics. You can't hear the lyrics.
I'd say it's neutral. The beats are just so loud. Like that playlist, for example, is definitely one of them. But that was, I'm glad you said that, because it's so true. Like, my point is if you're listening to like the garbage music, and I hate to call it that, but it is what it is, maybe think about replacing it with something that
you don't have to cut it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just replace it.
Don't only listen to the most popular song that just came out. It's probably not good. And I'll say, I used to love rap. I used to love R&B. I was a big R&B and a lover boy. But the thing about those songs versus these songs now are only girls and drugs that rap together, whereas the songs before were stories told and the hardships told by the artist of the song. It was a very big difference in how music was created, and it's just not something good to listen to, in my opinion. Well, factually, it's not good to listen to and have that going in your brain all the time. Fact. And then not to be more into the conspiracy side of things, but the literal hertz and vibration of this music is just proven to be not good for you.
That's what I was kind of getting into right there, and I love how you just said that they used to be about stories, and now it's just about the rhymes.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. Like Usher back in the day, when I was like 2009, I used to love that because I understood like kind of what he was talking about in these songs.
They tell the story.
They told a story. Now it's just like we're here and there. But my point also off of that is that music has been around for like literally the dawn of time.
Yeah, it's been just sounds. It's been tapping on things. It's always been around.
And it has always been like such a. It is like a, I guess you would call it a conspiracy kind of theory that nobody's ever really figured out like why music is so attractive, and it's, I think, something that kings used to have jesters and whoever else playing this stuff in like the 1400s, and it's literally the only thing that's changed or stayed the same is the love of music. Now music has changed so much to the when you have these harmful like the hertz and whatever you'd call it, the decibels and everything that can change
they change your
anatomy,
vibe, your mood. I mean, the thing about it is, like, I'll give you guys this experiment because I love bringing this up, and this just fucks people every time, but I love it so much. Think about it this way. Your favorite song from 20, 30, even 60 years ago. If you're an 80-year-old man and you survived through one of the wars, right, and there's a song that you hear, when that song is played, all of the memories from that time will be replayed with it that you never would have remembered otherwise. Which just shows how deeply rooted sound and music is in your fucking brain, that it can pull memories from millions of minutes and seconds ago in an instant, just from hearing.
Same with smell,
the pattern.
Too. Yeah, and that's exactly right. It's these things. It's the smallest things are. They like have these mental anchors in your mind.
They do.
It'll bring back a certain memory about a girl or an experience or a time. You'll remember exactly where you were, and you won't be able to remember anything.
You'll feel it all over again.
You'll feel it all over again. So that's a huge point right there.
Yeah, and that just shows how powerful it is, and that goes for good and bad. So now imagine how powerful and how the magnitude of the negativity of the music that you are listening to, because it's just as powerful as the good music. So
true.
That's just a nice little tangent. Be careful of what you put in your brain, and that includes the nutrition that you put in your brain, the music you put in your brain, the words of the people around you that you put in your brain, the conversations you have, everything.
Yep. That's exactly right. And talking about brain, my last thing that I would say is going to make anybody 1% better is like a meditation of some sort.
Oh, yes.
Like in the sauna, I love to do it in the sauna, preferably like sitting down. So I would say you could do this in the sauna box, but you have to be standing.
Well, I mean, it comes with a chair. It comes with a little pop-out chair.
You could do a chair too, but either way, you want to have some space and you want to be alone while you do it. And I like to throw on like a Zen garden playlist, like some water flowing, some kind of like garden.
Echo, put on Rainforest,
yes,
please.
Something like that, and then you just sit there and close your eyes. And I'm not talking about doing the hands.
Fucking
just sit still. I know it's hard for a lot of people out there.
Right.
Just actually sit still.
I mean, even if you can't sit still, because I have that horrible issue.
I'm horrible with it too. I'm not gonna lie.
Just do some very slow stretches. Like if you, like me, I need to work on my mobility. Mm-hmm. If there's something you need to do, like if you need to stretch your hamstrings, or just do very slow 30-second to 60-second stretches, because you should only be in there for 20 minutes. So I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
You do 10 stretches, you're done.
That's true. So scratch that. Do what makes you comfortable, because a lot of people focus on the sitting still part so hard that they're not focusing on what they should be and the whole point of why they're in there.
Because you don't have to be completely still. No, I mean, unless you're literally doing breath work and you are trying to like control your core. Because there's some people who do that.
That is true. So bottom line, sit in there and think about the person that you want to be. Put yourself in the shoes of the dream you that there is. And like you already have it. It's like a kind of form of manifestation and meditation all at once, and become that person for however long. You start off at 5 minutes and then move to 7, 10. You
need to do this a lot. You need to really live in the essence of the person that you want to be, if you ever want to be that person.
You hear it all the time. We become what we think about most of the time. And this is literally an exact quote. If you think about being in debt for the rest of your life and you're so scared of that,
you will subconsciously self-sabotage yourself to that point. And I have seen this so many times in past relationships, friends, family. It sucks to say, but people who continuously speak negativity, this is how I put it, to not go on another long tangent for you guys. Whatever you ask for, you will receive. It doesn't matter if it's good. It doesn't matter if it's bad. The universe will give you what the fuck you ask for. It doesn't matter if it's the way that you want it, because as we know, God will give you what you need, not what you want. So whatever trials or tribulations you need to go through in order to receive the gift that you're asking for, he'll give you that. But that goes for the bad too. If you're asking for the bad, if you're talking about negativity, if you are constantly bad, you're going to run into bad.
That's true.
So just I mean, keep it in your head, but I would rather you completely dissipate it and replace it with good, genuine thoughts.
And that's when that's exactly right. And it goes also with like if you're hanging around people who are always talking bad, and that's the music. If the music is always talking bad,
That's
your
more
mind
bad.
doesn't know the difference. You're hearing that, it's digesting that, and that's what's going to come out. What you put in is what you get out. So, of course, not always are you going to have the most positive thoughts ever, but that's when you have a negative thought. You have this mental anchor, and it's called discipline. If you do this enough, you'll remember that when you have that negative thought, you'll snap and say, "I need to do something to eradicate this."
I had to do that last night.
Yeah.
I was in a dark cloud, and there were some things that were bothering me, and I was sitting there at like 12 last night. I was like, I haven't worked out. I'm sitting here. I caught myself scrolling and sulking, and I was like, nope, got to get up.
Yep.
I went to the gym. I was at the gym from 12:30 to 2 a.m. last night. Posted that.
It's beautiful.
So, that discipline, like you said, is extremely important. You need to be able to cut it out when you notice it, and that's going to be, I mean, I guess that should be our next rolling topic is like, you need, because I saw this very interesting quote. I'm not even going to go look for it on my phone, but it was basically a sign posted up that said, your triggers are your responsibility. It's not the world's job to walk on eggshells around you just because. And these triggers also go for negative habits that you have. You need to be able to realize this situation makes me uncomfortable. I get on my phone when I get uncomfortable, you know? Yep. So it's like, really need to be able to be disciplined in order enough to stop those triggers, notice those triggers, work with those triggers, and not allow your body to autopilot, but you be in full control of your body at all times.
I think that's a great topic, and I'm happy to speak on it. I
would love to hear it because I know you work incredibly hard around the clock with the research that you do, the outreach that you do, the people that you have to maintain relationships with. You work incredibly hard, and you have to be disciplined as fuck to be able to maintain that.
I know that's me and you both. And anything, you're always in sales. That's a different topic we'll get into. But the triggers, I think that the social media and the phone in general has added or at least increased the potency of triggers and humanity like 1,000 times, if not triple or
minimum
10 times
minimum 1,000, yeah,
minimum that. So if you're, and it's not only social media is a big proponent of that, and it's a big factor, but it's anything on your phone. Like I know for a lot of men out there and a lot of guys, if you like, you see anything, you're on Facebook and it suggests like a girl that is near you that went to your high school, and you see that, and then you start.
You need to unfollow, man.
You need to just
completely unfollowed all
unplug. See that right there that's heavy discipline right there.
My boys used to dog on me. They'd be like, "Oh, so you're gay now?" I'd be like, "No, I just have no reason to be looking at women. What the fuck is that doing for me? Unless I'm collaborating with you, there's no reason for me to follow you."
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, that's exactly true.
You know that unfollow, like if you have a cordial, healthy relationship with a woman or a female or whatever the case may be, sure, follow her. If you have coworkers, you can still follow them. Mm-hmm. But if you're following a woman that doesn't know you exist just to look at her,
oh my gosh, yeah.
or like pictures, like, bro, come on, stop. Just don't do that.
And that's that you don't want to. I mean, really, is that how you want to tell your kids one day that you met mom? I met mom, and she was suggested on Facebook, and it triggered me to turn into this horny monster.
Yeah.
And I went and liked every one of her posts. The last time she posted was in 2021, but I didn't care.
I didn't think anybody's ever told that story to their kids because those are the people that don't have kids.
It's a good point. I haven't heard it myself. I
don't know anybody that said that, So it's like, you don't want to be that guy. Like, it could happen. You never know. You might actually get that shot if, you have yourself put together and she's looking and in the market for it. That might happen, but I'm 100% sure that's not going to happen. So
I talk about women a lot with this because I think one of the biggest, I don't know, most of the people who watch this are probably men. They're guys that are trying to do this, but I would say for the ladies out there too, it goes with like the opposite sex is I think the biggest trigger that is around these days. I suffered with it a long time ago myself. Like it took forever and years of building that discipline to get over it, and it's super hard, and it takes practice day after day of like noticing these triggers. It's what I like to call a mental anchor. As soon as you have that, you have something that reminds you to get out of it, because it's so easy to get sucked down into a trigger, if you know what I mean.
You really just need to be aware of it. And this is It is definitely a trigger, and it's not, I wouldn't say that it is difficult to notice per se, but when it does come to noticing your triggers, this is also another habit that you need to instill, and this is in the book Atomic Habits.
Good
You
book.
need to have the protocol of do it now. Like, I have had to implement this for fucking everything, and this is actually a conversation that you and Kobe told me. Remember that time we were at Gym Tacos and you said, if it takes days for somebody to reach you, or if, you know, you're out of reach and a client can't get to you, you're losing that fucking client.
Fact.
From that fucking day forward, my response time is close to immediate, if not in 2 hours. That's if my shit doesn't get flooded.
I can actually say that's accurate right there.
Yeah, I implemented do it now. I need to respond now. If we were sitting at breakfast the other day and we were setting up this podcast, I already had the calendar open before he could even fucking finish his sentence. We need to do it now. Whatever it is, if it's taking out the trash, if it's doing your laundry, if you know you should be at the gym, if you know you have assignment due, do it now. Mm-hmm. Now, the way that this translates into the whole thing with women, if you notice that you're looking at a woman, swipe now. If you notice that this woman is not important in your life and serves you no purpose, unfollow her now. These are just things that you need to, because triggers, when you notice it, you need to stop or correct it immediately, not later. Don't keep doing it. Don't do it one more time. Just, you need to stop now. So that's where that would play in.
That's exactly right. And I couldn't say it any better myself, is you have to just know when to stop. If this is not contributing positively to your future and it's only satisfying your mental hunger for whatever it is, your temptation right now, then you got to cut it out. And it takes discipline. That it's hard to say how to get there to be able to notice these things. It has to be.
It takes time.
When you're ready. When you're ready to start getting 1% better. Because everybody talks about how they always want to get better, but it takes an actual action. It's not like I'm going to do this or I'm going to do this. You need to do this and do that day in, day out. So it's two things: discipline and consistency with that discipline. Yes. Having discipline is one thing, but staying with and staying disciplined is where the actual magic is happening.
Yeah, that compound, like you said earlier. Yep. And even with discipline, people say that they're disciplined, but the thing about doing something sometimes, that just means that you have willpower. Discipline is doing something when you don't want to do it, when you have to do it, or when you should be doing it.
That's right.
Willpower is just being able to say no or yes whenever the occasion arises. You don't want it. Willpower is good because most men also are lacking willpower. They are lacking some balls most days. But at the end of the day, you really want to also become, I would say, educated and also competent in knowing the difference between all of these words. Because you don't want to sit there and say that you're disciplined and you're not. And you don't want to sit there and just becoming more educated, like Greyson was talking about earlier, becoming more educated and competent and knowing what you're talking about and learning new things, learn new words, learn new operations, new jobs, new skills. I mean, That's all very, very important when it comes to acquiring a happy wife, happy life.
That's damn right. And this is something that I actually recently heard from a good friend, a wise man once said. His name is Colby Mitchell. He recently talked about this, and I think it was huge for me. And I actually just used it for a big decision in my life. But the point of it was, and the way I'm tying it into this discipline and consistency thing, is that to be able to be disciplined and consistent, I think a good way to do that is to find something that you love to do, whether it's working out. And
it's a lot of people, good way to learn it.
It is. It's great. A lot of people are like, I'm the most driven, motivated person you'll ever meet. I'm going to go out here and do this. But motivation and drive is something that anybody can have. It's not special. And the fact that it's been put on a pedestal recently because
motivation.
Drive.
Oh, yeah.
It's been put on this pedestal because this generation is so lazy that drive has become
it's the new special. Wow, I don't have that.
No, exactly. But the special is finding not what you're driven to do, what you feel called to do. Because drive, you can get burnt out. There is burnout syndrome with that. But if you feel called to do something, you will never get burnt out because you know that this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
And to do it the best that I can do it, I need to be disciplined. And the only way that I'm going to get better at being disciplined is being consistent with that through discipline.
1,000,000% that matters.
Yep.
And I will say, even with the content creation that I'm doing, to tie that in, I do get burnt out creating pointless content that I don't give a shit about.
Right.
Which is why I stopped posting a lot on TikTok and Instagram. I felt like it was great and the quotes were good and there was some good information, but I really did not feel like I was helping in the best way. And I'm just doing what everybody else is doing. Something that nobody else can do is share my experiences and lessons with you guys. Nobody else on the internet can share that with you but me.
So valuable, man.
Yeah, that's why I love doing this. And the same for every single guest that I get to bring on here. We get to share our experiences. Some of us have been through the same thing. Some of us have been through the same thing with different views and different lessons learned. And this is the perfect place to learn it, but all to say the content creation is quite tiring, and being on social media every single day is quite tiring because I've been on social media for 965 days straight now. But
I'm sure that's accurate.
it is. But it's tiring, but my calling is to educate and help the youth now. The educational systems, in my belief, and I think to the world's belief, at least in Western culture, has failed most of you miserably. And I feel as though it's my calling to educate in the best way that I can with the truth that I have and have learned. And so I'm going to keep making these videos and I'm going to keep making these podcasts. No matter how many times I get hacked, no matter how tired I am, they still come out. It might slow down, but it's never going to stop.
Man, that was beautiful because I know that's your calling. Like you
It
actually like in the way that you're able to articulate it. I wouldn't even call it elevator pitch. Like that is like this is what I do, and that's it. That's how you become disciplined in something.
100%.
He knows what he's called to do. He knows, and he has seen the impact that it's had on viewers and people out there, and he's touched their life, and that's how you're doing the right thing. When you're changing somebody else's life, you're called to do that, and you're doing the right thing.
It is such a beautiful thing, bro.
Because that's when the drive is one thing, but if you get up and if you want to be, you need to go to the gym and your body is just telling you, man, I don't feel good today. I don't feel like it. I'm just so tired. I just can't get up. There's a 50% or more chance that you're just going to say, you know what, I'll go tomorrow. This is my rest day today. I don't know. It's fine.
I don't do that unless I've not taken a rest day and I'm just beating myself into the ground and my body genuinely needs it. Mm-hmm. I don't do that.
But if you feel called to do, if you're a bodybuilder, for example, and the concept of gym,
they don't allow.
Doesn't matter. You're getting up because if you feel called enough to be in that industry, you're getting up.
Oh yeah, no, that industry is a 24/7 sport. There's no question about that. Sleep matters. Water matters. What time you're getting up matters. When you eat your. We're not going to go into that.
The macros.
Yeah. Every single part of that sport matters. So that's definitely completely accurate right there. That translates.
So my point is find something that you feel called to do, and you'll never feel like you're actually working. It's a simple quote that I'm sure every single one of you have heard. If you find something that you love to do, you never work a day in your life.
Something that they've heard but not
applied.
Really, yeah.
Or looked for, because you have to look for these things. You can understand it and digest it, but it can go right out the other ear. You have to look.
And depending on what you do, and I'll be touchy with this, not to combat that at all, but I even talked about this in my courses, that when it comes to doing something you love, be very careful what you choose. I absolutely loved playing video games, and I absolutely loved the gym and traveling, and I got to meet all my favorite fucking influencers that I grew up watching. And it became a job because I made money from it. Mm-hmm. Now, I've translated to making my money in other ways so that this is now my main. This isn't a hobby. This is technically, it still generates income. But whatever you do, because my teacher told me in high school, find something that you love to do and find a way to make money doing it, and you never work a day in your life, which is probably just really another way of saying that. Yeah. Be careful how you do it. Maybe find one or two things, but that is also food for thought, is when you make money doing something, make sure you're not money hungry at the time, because it will start to feel like a job if you're money hungry.
That's true. And to put the nail in the coffin on that, find something that you would do for free.
Oh, yeah.
That is how you find what you're called to do.
That's a really good way to put it.
If you wouldn't do it for free, then that's not what you're called to do. Because he who works for free, or he who, the quote where he who works for less than he deserves will soon earn more than for the work that he does.
Yes.
It's something along those lines. Don't quote me, but
because you're not sitting there like, pay me or else I won't do.
Yeah.
And also you're going to get less reps that way. You just are. The ones who are willing, like my buddy Hattie, he's like, something he always said in his videos, he's like, I learned to eat shit. The more shit that I can eat and the more dirt that can get kicked in my face and the more times that I can get up, the more you will be rewarded in the end, because the more that you can take and the higher your stress tolerance, the greater the reward. So,
Yep.
I mean,
Yep, that's exactly right. So if you can do something for free, and I learned this a lot in commercial real estate when I first got into the business for over 14 months, was I did not close a deal that was enough to keep me alive by any means. But I kept doing it because I believed in this whole thing where people should invest in these investment properties to help them live a passive income
you saw the
lifestyle.
investment opportunity.
Yeah, there's an investment opportunity in this entire thing, and it's not just about the money that I'm getting. It's about the value that I'm helping people. I helped this old lady sell her building, and I think we sold it to somebody with a tenant that was much stronger than the previous one. Ended up generating her $500,000 more, and she said that this was enough to pay off her mortgage. Her late husband had passed and left her in a mess of a world of hell, and she was able to pay that off. And that right there is why I do this. I didn't care when the check came, if it ever came. All I know is that I helped her.
That will come back around, though.
Yeah.
People don't, I don't know if there's so many different cultures and so many different beliefs and legends, but whether you believe in karma, whether you believe in karma or whatever you believe in, it always comes back around. Everything done in the dark will come to light, and all good energy is passed back around. Whether it's a conscious decision or something that you just felt like doing, it will always circle back around to you.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of you guys out there are going to take this and then go apply it for a week or a month or a day even, and say that I'm not, that I feel like I'm running in place. Like, I feel like I'm not doing this right. But think about it. It may sound like you've been buried by all of the things in your life, every bad thing. You're just getting bad thing after bad thing after bad thing happening to you. You feel like you've just got the weight of the world on your shoulders and you're being buried. But you have to think about it like you're being planted. There's been a hole that's dug, and you're being planted in the ground, and that thing is going to grow beyond a measure of a doubt if you stick with it and stay consistent. So find your calling. It's going to be hard, but once you do, stick with it, and I promise you for the rest of your life, you will thank yourself for doing that. I know that much.
Oh, absolutely. And it's going to be... It's going to be challenging. I don't even know if hard is the word for it at this point, because the thing about it is, like, do that and stick with it and stick to something that you believe in more than anybody else. I went on a rant about this for fucking 5 minutes. In my course is that whatever you choose to do, you need to believe more than anybody else. You have to believe in it. And like the same thing with your morals. Not every man stands by the same morals. Not every man leads with the same integrity, or some lead with strength, some lead with fear. I literally heard one of my friends say the other day, I enjoy being feared. And I was like, that's one type of power, and there's also being revered for your integrity and that people know why to follow you. There's two completely different things and two completely different types of power, but
that's true. But which one prevails the most? I mean, that's a question I think is old as time. Would you rather be loved or feared or respected? You have people that great leaders in the world's history that have been feared, and they were followed out of fear. Now, did that always end in some terrible death for them? No, not always. But the best way
doesn't mean it doesn't get passed down to their kids.
That's right, and it does. But he's completely, you've nailed this, saying that there's multiple ways to lead, and I think you can lead by making people feel safe. If people feel safe around you, I promise you they'll follow you.
That is the number one way, and I'll tell you, because like I've been on social media for 14 years. Literally, if any of you remember Uvu or any of those fucking Kick, yeah. I worked on those platforms when I was very, very young. And I've seen the psychology. I've seen how people act. And I've told these guys I've literally never used my real name, real email, or anything, real passwords for any piece of social media or digital technology, just out of pure skepticism. And because intrinsically, I knew that there was something wrong with the internet and the data collection. Because I was that nerd. I would read the EULA. I would read the user's license agreement when you're about to sign up for something, and I'd be like, So they're selling the information. We don't have access to it. It's kept in a cloud server that we don't have access to, even if we delete it from our phone. So I was just never really with it. But I've always been very psychologically enhanced. I've always looked at how people react. Whenever I say stuff, I watch people's eyes. I watch their body movement. I see if they twitch. I see if their eyes dilate. I've always been very, very, very interested in the psychology of humans and how they work. And I was always very introverted, so I would always watch. Yeah. I'd watch other interactions.
Analytical.
Yes. All to say, just like Grayson said, if people feel safe around you, they will feel more than inclined to stand behind you, to follow you, to go out of their way to help you when they really don't need to. There are so many more benefits to making people feel heard and safe than feared. If people fear you, that really doesn't do anything for you. It will make them listen to you right then and there while you're standing in front of them. Or say if you have the power of the cartel, it's just not going to be well. But we're going to stay with the instance of you're a bully. Directly staying in front of you, they will be listening to you. Behind your back, they will not. When they're talking to other people, they will not speak well of you. When you're not around, when you're not around and you need assistance or whatever it is, they're not going to be at your beckoning call. They're not going to owe you a favor. They're not going to want to help you. They're not going to speak highly of you. They're not going to send good energy your way. So when it comes to fear, people generally pick fear based off of their experiences because fear is how they know. And people who generally choose to lead and protect, I wish there were a lot more men out there that chose that route because honestly, we need a lot more leaders and a lot more protectors. Not just for females, but there are men and there are women of both kinds that need protection, leaders, and quality, guidance. I wish there were more people that wanted to help, not destroy.
That's the best way to say it. Because, I mean, as a man, and I'm going to give you two different circumstances. One in the form of your relationship in a marriage. As a man in that relationship, you're supposed to be the protector and the provider. Protection, what does that mean? It means that you're making people feel safe. You're making sure that they are safe. And
that includes being a little bit soft sometimes too, you guys.
Yeah, it really does. It absolutely does.
That doesn't mean be a hard ass, by the way.
Being a feared leader, think about if you were to worst case get super sick and ill, you can't have that fear factor anymore because you don't have it in you.
No.
And nobody's going to if they don't fear you anymore, why would they follow you still? But if you make
why would they not smite you right there?
That's what I'm saying. King Henry VIII, tale as old as time. This is in like 1540 in the Tudor times. He was like the most feared leader there ever was in that time because he would just kill people, cut their head off, cut their head. He did this, cut his head off. He did that, cut his head off.
Yeah, he would laugh. Honestly, it's on record that he would laugh and it would be fun because he would see the reactions of people and assume that they would not proceed.
Yeah, exactly. And so people feared him, so they followed him. The entire country of England followed this man until he ended up getting like a leg injury that came back to bite him in the ass fatally like years later. But he became very overweight and sick, and his wife started cheating on him. All of his whole entire court started like spiting him. There was money being stolen and removed items being stolen. Nobody cared about him until the day that he died because he became unable to become feared anymore. And as soon as that was the case, nobody followed him anymore.
I personally know a dickhead like that. And I think that we all do. Me and David,
Mm-hmm.
We used to work with somebody like that. And it sucks because I try and look at everything from both sides. Every single scenario in the world, I don't care who you are, there's no such thing as good or bad. There's no such thing as one side of the story.
Fact.
And even though the guy's a complete dickhead and nobody's going to be with him when he dies, and everybody's currently doing that and stealing from him and undercutting him and snaking him because he's an absolute piece of shit and he thinks he's the shit. And he's really just he's just like a big scared bully, He has a lot of insecurities and he rules with fear and trying to act big and walk around shitting on people and making fun of people. But at the end of the day, he's just like every other guy. When he was young, he was telling us stories about how he did the exact same shit as us. He had the same dreams as us. He went through the same heartbreak as us. And these people are people as well. And it just sucks to see that if they would just let go of whatever the fuck is eating them up. And I don't even know how to put it because it just sucks to see. I hate to see guys that become so full of themselves and just angry with themselves, because that's what it is. He's upset with himself and the shit that he's done.
It's completely a projection, and the result comes back to what you said earlier. If you believe in karma, I don't know whether you believe in it or not. I don't know if you've ever seen it or experienced in a positive or negative light, but that's what it is. I mean, truthfully, what you put in anywhere in this universe is going to come back around somewhere or the other.
Yeah, it's going to come back around. So it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It doesn't mean if you're intentional about it or not. It just comes back around. It doesn't matter if you if you I'm not even going to go with that example, but yeah, all to say, like, if you are a young man who's trying to build himself, don't start yourself off on a dirty slate. If you are older, if you're in your 30s and you feel like you've fucked up and you feel as though you've already gone too far and you've destroyed all your options, no, it's never too late to unfuck yourself. You can always reverse things. It might seem like it takes forever, kind of going back on what Greyson said earlier. If you just do something for a couple of days and you feel like you're spinning in circles or you feel like you're just running on ice, the thing about it is, I live by the 1% better. You could have done 370 things negative and have to fix that, right? There's 365 days in a year. If you just do something 1% better, you could almost unfuck yourself in a year and 5 days. So if you've already gone back 370%, if you've already done 370 negative things, then go ahead and take the next year to focus on yourself. Every single day, you're going to feel a little bit better. You don't have to focus on the same thing every day. You can bounce between topics, but it doesn't matter where you are. You can build, you can rebuild. You just have to keep getting back up. And even if you lay on that bed dying and you only got back to 1%, at least you're not sitting at a negative 42,000. At least you're not sitting at, I did everything wrong all my life and did not try.
Yep. You
tried your hardest to get back where you were, and there's really nothing anybody can say about that.
It's the truth, man. I recently saw a video, and this is kind of, I'm going to tie it in with I guess you called it analogy, but it was Donald Trump, and this is like 1990, and he's walking down the street in New York in massive commercial real estate debt. I'm talking like, I think it was $900 million, and he was with a reporter. They saw a homeless man on the side of the road, and he said, "See that guy over there?" And she said, yeah, why? And Donald said, "Who is that?" And she said, "It's a beggar. Isn't that bad? That's so sad that there's this homeless man there." And he said, "Well, that homeless man is $900 million richer than I am, even if he's dead broke. He has $0. My point is being in the negative is not where you want to be. Being at ground zero, $0 in your pocket, no direction of where you're going. This isn't only about money. Is better than being in a negative spiral, because then you have to backtrack and do all this work to get back to zero. But the point is stay consistent, and you will never be there."
That is the most beautifully I've ever heard that, but that was magnificent.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I have never really had such a great analogy to that for the backtracking side of things. The 1% better and build from ground zero, I've always had a strong grip on, but that's a perfect way to visualize how unfucked or fucked you could be.
Yeah, that's right.
$900 million is a lot to be in debt, and I think I would rather have zero than that any day.
Right. And the point is that you obviously all know Donald Trump now. That was in the 90s. He's been the president. He's done all whatever else that he's done. But you don't give up. And whether you're a fan of Donald Trump or not, this isn't about politics or his view on anything. It's about him as a person, the facts that have happened. I mean, he got out of the $900 million, obviously. Maybe he's getting back into it these days. But, the point is back then that happened, and you can do it in your life, whether you're negative or you're in credit card debt or you're in a really toxic relationship. You can get back to ground zero, and you will be...
You can untangle things.
You can unfuck yourself, and you'll be $900 million figuratively, mentally more valuable than you were during that time. But it takes discipline.
That's the biggest thing, man. You need to, and that's, I guess we could, you need to focus on yourself. If you are in such a negative place, you need to be cutting out negative people. You need to be cutting out negative habits. You need to be cutting out negative talk. Everything that is bringing you down. If you're already in a bad place, I don't know why I do know why you're comfortable. You should not be allowing yourself to be comfortable. And that's one thing when it comes to smoking, because most people, I don't post about it at all. I do smoke, but when it comes to that, if there is something that's due, or if there's an assignment, or if something's stressing me out, I very specifically do not smoke so that it stresses me out, because stress is a response telling you to fucking do something. And if you start smoking weed, or if you start doing something that's going to make you comfortable, hanging out with the people that are going to tell you, oh, don't worry about it, it's going to be fine. Don't allow yourself to be comfortable when you're in an uncomfortable situation, because you are uncomfortable for a reason. You are uncomfortable because you know you shouldn't be there. You're uncomfortable because you know you should be doing something. So don't give yourself that out. Don't give yourself that comfort. What you should do, okay, so I want to smoke a blunt or whatever it is. Let me get this task done first and let the stress de-stress. Let me go do this for an hour. Let me knock this out, and then I can reward myself after, because it's a reward. Yep. You shouldn't be rewarding yourself with fucking comfort.
I was just going to say that. Why would you reward yourself before you actually do what you... That creates laziness, and that's what kind of derailed this entire generation, is we've been rewarded with so many dopamine hits.
Fucking
and we don't do anything.
And stickers and shit.
That's what I'm saying. Back in the day, that's what it was. But this journey of being 1% better is going to be lonely at times. All the time, maybe not. Maybe it will. But it is going to be
lonely.
It's going to be lonely.
It's going to be. I'm sorry, but it is.
Because unless you have a really good friend around you, or it's a coincidence that they're like, let's do this thing together, you're lucky if you have that. I mean, that's very rare. I'm glad to say that I have it. You have it too. And we've built this community around each other where we can all feed on that and build each other. But at first, if you're in high school or you're in college and you're just starting to realize that you need to break out of these habits that you're in, and everybody around you is it made you think that you need to do that, it's going to be lonely, because you're going to be the only one. You're the first early adopter that said, I need to become better. This is what it's going to take. They're not always going to be like, yeah, we're in there, dude. We're doing this. It's going to be just you for a while. And that's where it becomes a fight mentally every single day.
It is.
Yeah, it does.
That's. I'm not gonna lie, because like I said earlier, I've been pretty fucking antisocial as of lately. Like, you're gonna go through spurts that you are gonna want to be social. You're gonna go through spurts where you're gonna go through times in your life. I don't care if you're an extrovert, bro. You're going to go through so many periods of your life that you're going to need a minute to sit in your fucking thoughts and process, dog. Because when I talk to people, I tell them I've lived 7, probably 8 lives at this point. Like, I've gone through my Miami phase. I've gone through my international phase. I've gone through trying to go to the military bullshit. I've gone through my gaming bullshit. And it seems like every single year, there's so many developments that change me as a person.
And that's the beauty of it, too, though.
It is.
It is.
But eventually on that journey, over years or over months, depends on your tolerance, you're going to need a moment to just sit alone and reflect and think about yourself, where you came from. Are you happy with where you are? What direction do you want to take it now? Because even me, I started off doing gaming, and I started doing gaming because of the FaZe. And I would go through their comments, and I would see where it would say in their comment sections, right? Kids would come home and be like, I look forward to these videos every single day. I hate my life at home. My parents are always arguing, but your guys' videos make me smile and laugh every day. You guys are why I'm still here. When I was younger, I was like, I want to be that guy that makes men and kids in general happy, that makes them want to live, that gives them some kind of fucking hope. I wanted to do that faceless with gaming. I did that for a while. My avenue has changed. My avenue has changed again. It's completely changed again. And so will yours. You're not going to do the same thing for 10, 20, 30 years. Nobody's meant to fucking work at Cisco for 40, 50 years.
That's right.
You're not going to.
True.
So you're going to need to take time to reevaluate. You're going to need to take time to possibly take, ask the people around you. Be like, what are my strong points? What are my weak points? What should I focus on? What do you notice that I enjoy that I might not notice, There's going to be a lot of reflection, and it will require that meditation in quiet time to really process those thoughts with genuine truth and transparency with yourself.
Man, that is the best way to say it. There's seasons in all of our lives that they change like the leaves do. They like a legitimate season. Yeah, you're going to go through phases in different, like whole different lives. They're going to be different parts of you. Even if you do the same thing, if you do work at Cisco for 50 years, you're going to
go through different jobs.
You're going to go through different jobs or roles there. And even if you stay at the same one, you're mentally going to mature, and you're going to go through different events in your life. Shit happens. Bad things happen. Good things happen.
You might lose mobility, and you might need to do something more remote.
That's what I'm saying.
You never know.
But I've
been through 3 fucking motorcycle accidents.
That's what I'm saying. But you grow and adapt. And sometimes there's a setback. but that gives you the time. Sometimes when you're set back by something, it's the universe's way of telling you to slow down and think.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I will say that's happened to me right before my fucking bodybuilding show. I tore my shoulder, and it was so fucking heartbreaking because I had been 6 months of nothing but chicken and rice. As you guys remember, if you guys followed my bodybuilding prep last year, you remember. And it was such an amazing time. And it's when I had just got this fucking job with this millionaire douche in Charlotte, and my content was popping off, and I was meeting all my favorite people. This is when my life was at its one of the faster times other than Miami.
Right.
Ripped my shoulder out. I was immobile, lost all my gains, was a skinny little bitch again. You guys know how that works. But that was a setback. And that setback was amazing for me because I was neglecting my business and finance and credit all while I was doing everything else. I was using only cash. I was taking advantage of, affiliate deals. I was just making content every single day. And I avoided the business aspect of my life. I destroyed myself. I was forced to sit inside. Then I leveled up with everything with credit, with finance. I was starting to read through all the different tax codes. I went to school. That setback was so amazing and needed to help me balance out my life. But I could have just sat there and said, oh, my career is over. I have nothing to do. I'm going to sit inside and what am I going to, I could have done that. That's what I wanted to do. I felt like shit. I was like, bro, I just lost my best looking physique of my life. I had been prime. Mm-hmm. But I was like, okay, I can't do this, but I can do this, so I should do this. And that's how I look at things, and that's how you should too. Because when they say one man's trash is another man's treasure, one loss for you could be one gain in another area.
That's right.
It's just you need to be able to shift your mindset, and we're not even going to get into mindset this episode. I really want to get a group of the guys on the couch and we all sit around and answer your questions about mindset, or we just talk about our different mindsets. I would like to have multiple different minds sitting right next to each other, like the mastermind. That was so fucking sick, dude.
We actually had the camera rolling for that.
We did. I still have the clips.
Yeah, but it was crazy, man. It was when you have a group of people that are around you that all think in a positive way of they're all on the same page. You're in sync.
It magnifies.
It literally is crazy. You'll never experience anything like that unless you're surrounded by people who are on the same wavelength as you. It's
absolutely, dude. And we'll get into that in a whole nother episode. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up because we could talk for fucking hours, you guys. I love talking to you guys. I love talking with my boys. It is always an amazing experience, and I want you guys to find people that you also leave every single fucking conversation with a great feeling and a smile on your face. It doesn't matter if you guys got into it over something heated. You guys both walk away with respect for each other, and you guys both walk away with new knowledge and new perspective. So today was an absolute great episode. I really appreciate you guys listening in. If whatever the next topic you guys want us to talk about, or if there's something that you specifically want us to talk about, whatever the case may be, drop a comment below. And until next time, you guys remember to get 1% better every single day.
Yeah.